start from the far right.
Yes. You can use your mic. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Chair. Thank you, Dr. Shikaputo. My name is Dr. Bruce Muya. I'm a senior lecturer in the business school as well at the Commonwealth University. Thank you.
Thank you. Good morning. My name is Humphrey Van Dam. I do the Humphrey Van Dam. I'm a lecturer in economics at the same institution.
Good morning. My name is Edward Saklo. I'm the head of department, the School of Mines and Mineral Sciences. Thank you.
Thank you. Honorable members, let's start with the outer table on my right. The mic's working now? Okay.
Good morning, CBU. My name is Lloyd Luwasha, Member of Parliament for Chifubu constituency in Ndola Copperbelt, and a member of the Planning and Budget Committee.
Good morning. My name is Peter Piri, Member of Parliament from Kaika constituency and a member of this committee. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Chair. My name is Mushanga Sydney, Member of Parliament for Wacha in Kabwe, and also Chairperson, Committee on Sport, Youth and Child Matters, and Vice Chairperson, Information Communications Technology. You are welcome.
Good morning, CBU. My name is Jean Chisenga, Member of Parliament for Mambilima constituency, and I'm also Vice Chairperson for this committee.
Honorable Chair, thank you so much. Dr. Shikaputo and your team, good morning. My name is Mtotweka Fuaya, MP for Lunte constituency. I just wanted to find out, Dr. Shikaputo, as you come to speak, confirm whether that name comes from Kapato Mission. Thank you.
Thank you. Honorable Samakai.
Thank you, Chair. Good morning, witnesses. My name is Newton Samakai, Member of Parliament for Mwinilunga constituency in the Northwestern Province. I'm Chairman of Local Government, Housing and Chiefs Affairs, and I'm also part of this select committee.
Thank you. Honorable Mugando.
Good morning, Doc. Mungandu Davison is my name. I represent very good and humble people of Chama South constituency in Eastern Province. And I'm a member of this expanded committee through committee budget and planning. You are welcome.
Good morning, Doc. I'm Morgan Istwala. I'm a Member of Parliament for Kauma Central. I chair National Security and Foreign Affairs. That's what brings me to this expanded committee. Otherwise, you are most welcome.
Order on.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you, CBU. I'm Honorable Engineer Rafa Mavenga, Member of Parliament for Mwezi constituency in Western Province, and a member of this committee. I'm also the chairperson for Media ICT. Thank you.
Morning, Chair. Morning, CBU. My name is Mulunda Darius, Member of Parliament for Siavonga constituency, chairperson for the Committee on Local Government Accounts. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Chair. Good morning. Good morning, CBU. Mubika MP for Shango Western Province, chairperson of the Transport and Works Committee, and also a member of this committee. Welcome.
Good morning, CBU. My name is Konas Munji, Member of Parliament for Nalikwanda constituency, Western Province, and a member of the Planning and Budget Committee.
Chair, thank you very much. CBU team, good morning. My name is Mijaloga Sauta, Member of Parliament for Wengwa constituency, Mwanza District,
Southern Province, and I'm also the chairperson of Agriculture Committee.
Thank you, Honorable Chairperson, and you are welcome to you. My name is Elliot Kamondo, Member of Parliament from Fumbwe constituency and the chairperson of Government Assurances Committee and a member of this committee.
Thank you very much, Chairperson, for the opportunity to introduce myself. My name is Brian Kambita, Member of Parliament for Zambezi East constituency in Northwestern Province. And I'm also a chairperson for the Committee on Parastatal Bodies, this being a select committee, which is an expanded Planning and Budget Committee. Chairpersons are present here. But I'm equally rightfully here because I am a member of the Planning and Budgeting Committee. Honorable Chairperson, I would like to declare interest that these powerful men here have passed through their surgery. So any quality you see which comes out of me, it is out of these powerful people here. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Chair. Good morning, CBU. My name is John Desaka. I'm the Member of Parliament for Milenge constituency in Luapula Province. I'm also the member of the Budget and Planning Committee. You're welcome.
Thank you. Members of staff.
Thank you, Chairperson, and good morning, CBU. My name is Elijah Chilimboi, leading the Secretariat responsible for the Planning and Budgeting Committee. With your indulgence, Chair, allow me to adopt Honorable Kambita's words to declare interest. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. And my name is Fred Atila, Member of Parliament for Momba constituency in Monze, the chairperson for this committee. A couple of the laws of Zambia, our colleagues gives you immunity as and when you are appearing before the committee of parliament such as this one, meaning that whatever you say while was appearing in this committee, that which you say cannot be used against you in any court of law. Take advantage of that. However, the same provision works against you in an event that you were to deliberately mislead the committee, which I doubt will be the case, going by the pronouncements of my honorable colleagues here. And also just to indicate that we are live both on the Parliament radio and the TV, so people out there are following the proceedings. We have your document, Dr. Shikaputa and your team, which is about 22 pages, quite big. And I'm wondering how many minutes I should give you to do justice. Honorable Venga is proposing 10, I can hear, which I think is not sufficient enough. Are you able to do maybe within 25 to summarize, or you need a bit more of that? Okay, great. So we'll give you a maximum of 25 minutes, and then we have another 20 minutes for the members to ask questions. Then we'll close. You can start, sir, as and when you are ready. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Chair. Our presentation structure is reflected on the slides as follows. I'll introduce the topic, and my colleagues will chip in to just make sure that we don't miss anything. So, Honorable Chair, we are here to make comments on the medium-term budget plan 2024-2026 and the Green Paper. And for us, we thought to start with, we have to evaluate the medium-term budget plan and ensure that we also want to make it clear that it is necessary to actually consider the broader national aspirations and the policy framework, especially the Vision 2030 the 8th National Development Plan 2022-2026 and the nation vision as enshrined in the documents to be a prosperous middle-income nation by 2030. Honorable Chair, the medium-term budget plan 2024-2026 feeds it into the 8th National Development Plan, and its implementation is a short-term and it is intended to facilitate and enhance delivery of macroeconomic goals, objectives as enshrined in the 8th National Development Plan, which also feeds into the Vision 2030. So whatever discussion we are coming up with, it is all going to feed into these important documents you have set for this nation. With your permission, Honorable Chair, allow me to hand over to my colleague, who is going to take us through the overview of the microeconomics objectives. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Thank you. You can switch off the other mic. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. I just want to, I'll just go through the macroeconomic overview of the medium-term budget plan 2020 to 2026. This is a very important document because it will give guidance as far as concerning the expenditure process for this country for the next 3 years. However, it's going to be implemented on a medium-term basis, and that's going to enhance the delivery of our macroeconomic goals and the objectives as enshrined in our 8th National Development Plan. The growth objective for this medium-term plan is for this country to grow at an average rate of 4.7%. And what's going to drive the economy towards 4.7% is the investment in the following sectors. That is the mining sector, the agriculture sector, manufacturing sector, tourism, energy, and information and communication and technology. And these are also outlined in the 8th National Development Plan. But the issue at hand here is how will these sectors be able to help in driving the economy to realize the 4.7% growth for the next 3 years. Of course, there are weaknesses and opportunities that right now we are facing. And the job we have is to look at these opportunities and look at the potentials that these sectors have, and how can we take advantage of the opportunities and also the potential, potentials that are inherent in these sectors. So what we are going to do right now is just to go through each and every of these sectors and look at the weaknesses, the strengths, the opportunities that we have at hand in this particular nation. And so we begin with the agro sector, that's agriculture and fisheries and livestock sector. Now this particular sector has a greater potential for economic development and also employment creation, as we do know that this particular sector employs about almost 60% of the workforce in Zambia. However, in terms of the contribution to GDP, it contributes about 3.4%. That tells us that the sector has potential in terms of reducing poverty, increasing employment, but also in contributing to the growth of the economy. Now, this sector has a great potential in terms of growing the economy. For instance, if you look at the Ukraine-Russia conflict, it has resulted in the reduced supply of grain globally. But this could be an opportunity for Zambia to take advantage of this market and be able to produce more and sell. Like the Chinese, in Chinese, the word risk has a meaning that a meaning is an opportunity. So whatever food shortage is going on in the region and abroad, beyond the region, I mean, we can take advantage of that and be able to grow our sector and expand our export market, and that's going to help us grow the economy. If you look at the market we have around us, which is Congo, it continues to be a huge market for Zambia's agricultural produce, including grain. And if you look at the recent efforts to ban the exports of maize, indicate that Zambia is not producing enough to feed itself, but the market is wide. Why not just increase the productivity in this sector and produce more and be able to sell? That way, we'll be able to take advantage of the opportunities that are around our country. And so what we are here to do is to unlock the potentials that are inherent in this sector and see how we can utilize the potential we have and be able to grow our sector and export more and grow our economy. And so what we're going to do is just to hand over the other section to my colleagues who are going to look at the unlocking the potentials in agriculture, fisheries, and livestock sector. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you, Dr. Fandam. I'm continuing with the narrative around how we can actually unlock the agricultural sector so that we can increase our production levels to take advantage of the opportunities that we see around us in the region and also globally. We think that unlocking potential in agriculture could take some basics. We should do some basics right. For example, the idea of the introduction of the farming blocks is brilliant in terms of opening up specific rural areas with infrastructure such as roads, the electricity supply lines, so that commercial farming can actually take place in a clustered manner. We think that that idea of farming blocks, if it's accelerated, it would actually help to unlock that potential. The FISIP itself, which is also being enhanced into the comprehensive agricultural transformation support program, is also a good emphasis so that it is not just the maize that we are focusing on, but also other cash crops as well as other agricultural activities such as livestock and so on and so forth. We think that that support, if it's clarified, crystallized, and actualized on the ground, it can actually yield serious results, yes. Now, how can we increase productivity further in this particular sector? The inputs under the FISIP and CASIP program should be delivered on time. I think we saw the sort of disruption that occurred last year when there was a general perception that the inputs were late. Of course, the reasons were understood to be the efforts to actually ensure that the database of beneficiaries was clean, was clear, was authentic. But we think that there are good signs that this year that delivery process has begun in good time for the next season. The database of beneficiaries, we think that should also continue to be cleaned so that we have authentic beneficiaries actually accessing those inputs. That said, because the actual production and productivity has not grown at a rate that would give us not only sufficient food as a country, but also enough to export to the yawning markets in the region and beyond, we think that we may need to adjust the program so that we have a graduation process, the food security component of it, where people become dependent on just receiving the FISIP inputs without expanding their production, without intentions to actually commercialize that may be creating a dependence syndrome. So we may need to create a graduation mechanism within it, so that we can have not just the farmers that stay at peasant level, but those that want to grow to emerging farmers and eventually become commercial farmers. We may need to have a graduated way of providing these inputs. For people that want to grow, let's give them more inputs so that they are monitored to ensure that the requisite results are obtained from there. Now, with that said, we also have noticed that there is need for feedback. When one is given inputs, we may need to check how much you actually produced based on the inputs that you got, so that with a digitalized database, which also enables us to have visualization, it will be much easier for the country to observe the sort of results that we are achieving from this FISIP and CASIP program, yes. Another important step would be enhancing agro-processing value addition through establishments of what we are calling research and innovation centers. This could be done in collaboration with the universities, where we can designate different public universities have different strengths. For example, we could designate the University of Zambia to host the Research and Innovation Center around the agricultural agro-processing, so that basic research, applied research, as well as the innovation to develop the prototypes that give us the agro-processed products could then be used to actually consider commercialization. For example, I think a year ago or so, we saw how there was a debate in the country around the tomato. There was just too much tomato that was reaching the market and it was going to waste. Why? Because we are not processing much of our tomato into the finished tomato sauce, which can have a longer shelf life. So what that means is that as a country, we seem to still continue to import. While we have a few brands around the tomato sauce in our country that are local, we still are importing a lot of our tomato sauce from outside the country. This is also continuing to put pressure on our exchange rate. So a research and innovation center around agro-processing, which can probably receive funding from currently the National Science and Technology Council has research and innovation funding allocation on a yearly basis. The National Technology and Business Center, NTBC, also has funding allocation from the budget for purposes of prototype development and commercialization. We could tap into that funding and enhance it to support these research centers so that we can have agro-processing that would result in import substitutions. Yes, this same notion of agro-processing through research and innovation centers can actually be expanded for us to have different research and innovation centers in beneficiation of battery minerals such as lithium and whatever. So we can designate a university like the Copperbelt University to host a research center that develops prototypes which can be used for commercialization, so that we have import substitution products to ensure that we have locally made products here. Equally, other strategic areas for the country could also benefit from this idea. With that said, I should mention just a few things around manufacturing. We also think that the manufacturing sector could contribute a lot more to our economy. We are currently only receiving 8% from agriculture contribution to GDP. What needs to be done in the manufacturing sector? We think that we need to encourage more investments in manufacturing through targeted tax incentives. The notion of research and innovation centers could also be actually explored for this purpose. the skill sets required in the manufacturing sector. We interact with the manufacturing sector through Zambia Association of Manufacturers, and we hear the sort of skill gaps that the sector has around engineering and technicians that are required to work in that sector. My colleague will mention a few things around some of our deficiencies in the human capital development that we need to address as a country to support these sectors. Yes. Tourism is another important sector where we think that the contribution to GDP could even become higher if we could incentivize local tourism as well, whereby we encourage local tourism through ensuring that access to tourism services at affordable rates. Whenever we travel to different parts of the country to tourist resorts, we get a number of times to pay the same rates as what foreigners would pay. A differentiated approach through price discrimination that is negotiated at national level may be actually helpful to encourage local tourism. Yes. There is the northern circuit that has a huge potential, which we think that if we had specific targeted policies as well as mechanisms to enhance investment would unlock that northern circuit, yes, for people to build lodges and other tourism infrastructure there. Related to that is the issue of the transport sector. I think that in this country we have seen how we have inadequate infrastructure. For example, it used to take us just 4 hours to drive to the copper belt, but now it gets us to travel for over 7 hours. That is slowing down the rate of efficiency in the economy. We could do that. Additionally, we are thinking about the Livingstone to Ketimamulilo Road, which has remained quite in a bad shape for quite a while. That could also unlock efficiencies in the economy. The Mpulungu Harbour area, taking us to access markets in East Africa would also be very useful. And the current discussions around the Lobito corridor, if we have the actualization of those memorandum of understanding signed, I think that would be helpful significantly. Let me lastly mention construction sector and the energy sector. Under construction, I think we have seen quite some activity now because of CDF, which is a good thing. But we notice that some rural constituencies are moving quite fast around the CDF utilization, whereas in the urban areas there's quite a slow uptake of CDF funds. The projects are really very slow. We think that there may be need to accelerate access to that funding there. There was an SI issued some time back around the specific sectors of the economy that should be reserved for locals. Block making, haulage, and chicken rearing used to be, I think that SI specifies that it should be reserved for the locals. But we have noticed that slowly it's actually easier for a foreign entity to have a local person owning only 0.5% of the shareholding in the structure and still be called an entity that meets that requirements for partnership. This is how slowly we've noticed that I think almost all Zambians have been driven out of the block making industry. Why? Because foreigners come with access to capital, they have more equipment, and therefore we are not having many Zambians participating in that regard. So that's the construction sector. We think that if certain specific types of businesses are reserved for Zambians, but then if there could be foreign participation, the percentage of shareholding could be increased to a minimum of, say, 30%. That would be very useful indeed. On my segment on the energy sector, I think we are all aware any shortages in energy is quite disruptive to the economy. And only 25% of Zambia has access to the national grid. We are hoping that the pronouncements, the MOUs that have been signed around the increased energy generation in this particular sector could actually be actualized, yes. On this score, I will now turn over the mic to my colleague, Dr. Chisakulo, to focus on the mining sector. And that's what we could be ending with, yes. Dr. Chisakulo.
Thank you for that. I think I will be brief in the interest of time. My discussion will focus on first understanding the positives from the medium-term budget plan, and then what is contained in the 2024 budget. And then probably have to look at the challenges which Zambia is facing in the mining sector. And then I also have to look at any policy options which we can recommend based on that. So from the medium-term budget plan, there are these targets which have been set, okay, which we have to follow. First and foremost, there is this notion of trying to boost production to 3 million tons over a 10-year period. And there is also need to recapitalize the Mopani and KCM mines to ensure that they also add to that production figure. Then we also look at the unlocking the potential of the minerals in Zambia. Okay? We also have to understand about the operations of the Mining Regulatory Commission, which has been proposed. It's taking some shape. And then we also have to understand how we tackle the mine value chain. And the issue of green energy is something which you have to look at. It's part of mining. We have to look at what constitutes in the electric vehicle battery value chain. And of course, the artisanal and small-scale miners, one of the key issues, again, which we need to tackle in this medium-term budget plan. Now, if we look at Zambia for some time, we have had a lot of challenges. We have been depending on one commodity for a long time, and probably there is need to diversify into other commodities because we are endowed with a lot of minerals in Zambia, so there is need to focus on other minerals as well. The other key challenge we have is illegal mining. We have seen what is happening in terms of sewage-light mining, gold, whether it's in Kasenseli, Samba area, or Mpika. All that constitutes illegal activities, which is one of the key things affecting the revenue flow from the mining sector. We also have intrinsic instabilities in terms of mine tax regimes, transparency issues. People are talking about tax holidays now. It's difficult to understand what's going on. Then we also have to understand about the performance of certain projects. If they have to contribute to that 3 million tons, we have to understand some of the projects might be just marginal. They might have low grades, costs are high, technologies are failing, and they lack investment. So that challenge is still there in the mining sector. The issue of price volatility, of course, people are threatened with job losses whenever something like that happens, or people start asking for revisions into the fiscal regime because of price cyclicalities. All those are challenges which you have to face in the mining industry. The country as well needs to be geologically mapped so that we can delineate new areas where there are new minerals. We need to do that. It's part of the challenge, and it's just supposed to be financed. We also have this non-formalization of that zero and small-scale mining. Like I said, that's what is leading to illegal mining activities. Value addition concepts, these have been affecting us for a long time. We are still exporting commodities in raw form up to now, even when we have capacity to add value here and there, but that problem is still there. And finally, the issuance of licenses. I hope something is being done now. I have heard a lot of discussions from the mines minister, what is happening at cadastre. Hopefully that challenge is being addressed. Now, if we have to attain the 3 million tons of copper production, what should we anticipate, say, from the performing mine projects? Are they capable, or can they produce sufficient commodities to feed into the 3 million tons? It's a tough question because these companies have got their strategies and policies, and if government asks them to say, can you increase production, they've got limiting factors which might not, help them to do that. So from the mining project perspective, we anticipate an increase in mineral reserve base as well as production. If they can do that, probably they will feed into the 3 million tons annual copper production. And they also need to improve on their efficiencies. It's very, very important for operating mines to ensure that these low grades, the high costs, technological challenges, as well as funding requirements are taken into account through some of these studies under the research and development arrangements. In terms of recapitalization of KCM and Mopani copper mines, yes, currently we should be producing around 600,000 because these two projects are not fully operational. So it's important that issues related to sustaining capital are handled so that the mines can come back and start contributing to production of copper. But again, the government here should ensure that there is, conducive and stable environment for private sector participation. Unlocking the potential, yes, this is one of the key things we need. We need the geological survey department to be capacitated, both with human resource and financial resources, so that they can do a proper mapping of the country, because I know it's just about 55% of the country which is probably mapped, and the other part is not mapped. So we need that kind of geological mapping so that we can have those geophysical anomalies, geochemical anomalies, remote sensing anomalies, which can open up new areas to target or zero in the type of mineralization we'd like to have. And in doing that, we have to generate data. It's very, very important to generate data because that can be used for investment decision making, and it can also be used, for bargaining purposes, arguing taxes from an informed position. Okay, so we need to do that, and on top of that, we also need to ensure that we customize the tax incentives based on the geological information which we have obtained from geological mapping, because these deposits are very varied in terms of grades, tonnages, polymetallic nature. You find that manganese now is occurring with sugilite. Perhaps we didn't know that, but deposits are like that. Copper and cobalt will occur together. So if you have that geological information, it could help the country to argue from an informed position. The other issue has to do with the establishment of the Mine Regulatory Commission. That's good, except that we also need to find out how the functions of the Ministry of Mines and Mineral Development will transition into that new commission. And in terms of enhancing local content regulations in the mine value chain, yes, the government should be involved in ensuring that interventions are made to reduce the export of these raw materials. There is blister copper going out. There is copper anodes going out. Sometimes even concentrates. You would wonder, why is it that these are going out? Is it because of incentives given to these mining companies to export raw materials? Or I don't know what's going on. But we are talking about value addition in this country. Always, even in the policy, National Mineral Resources Development Policy of 2022, value addition is a key thing. Then we also need to look at how we can, design policy and legislate guidelines for our suppliers in the mining industry. those they need some kind of legal framework so that they undertake the businesses with those mining companies. Next. Electric vehicle, this is more like a new industry now. We just need to do a lot of things as government so that we develop and strengthen those linkages between mining and other sectors of the economy in the value chain. And probably the government should look at how they can strengthen those governance and investment indices so that those linkages are fostered from exploration, mining, up to the time when you generate the final product in form of battery minerals. Formalization of what's said on small-scale mining, this is a key thing. If we have to avoid this illegal mining, there should be a way of formalizing these players, like forming cooperatives. If it can work, that could help. I think I'll end here because in the interest of time.
your time now.
Yeah.
Yes.
Perhaps let me hand over to the chairman.
Sure.
Thank you very much, Dr. Tsakulo, and thank you very much, Honorable Chair. Chair, to conclude, we have identified some key sectors in the economy, which we are referring to as the key drivers. But just to pick one, I think in the interest of time, education, we have discovered that the policies or what is happening on the ground is not supporting what we want to achieve. For example, if you check from the Higher Education Authority information, here we are saying that agriculture is one of the key drivers, but if you check from the enrollments in agriculture, forestry, fisheries and veterinary, we only have 2%. That's in the top right-hand corner, 2%. And then if we have to support mining and other engineering related, again under construction, we only have 4%. And then information and computer technology is another key area. We only have 3%. The next one. And then when it comes to graduates, it's even worse. Agriculture, forestry, fisheries, 1%. And engineering, again, 4%. ICT, 2%. Natural sciences, 3%. So where are we going to get the human resource who we think should be the anchor of some of the sectors we have identified to be the key drivers? We try to compare with our neighbors or other countries like South Africa, Botswana, Rwanda. All of them have done, although they are also low, but they have done better than us. Botswana, in terms of agriculture, they are at 2%, while we are at 1%. In terms of engineering, they are at, is it 13%? And science, they are at 11%. Rwanda, in terms of agriculture, they are at 4.7%, engineering 9.7%, and sciences, applied sciences 4.2%. South Africa, it's agriculture 1.7%, and all the other figures are clear. So we are lagging behind as a country. While we are saying these are the key sectors, we don't seem to have plans to support these key sectors through education. And Chair, I want to make a comment that the mainstay up to now, it appears to be mining, and we don't seem to go too much into mining and use research hubs to find out what are the challenges. Some of us who are staying on the copper belt, we have seen small planes coming in, landing and flying out. What they carry, we don't know. We just see when a plane lands in the area, there are vehicles going there and the plane disappears. Now, we are not sure whether we should become whistleblowers or what we need to do, but we need to actually relook at some of these areas, because if copper is the mainstay, and we expect a lot of us to participate in that area and avoid what my colleague was mentioning in terms of illegal mining, because there is a lot of money that we are losing out, and there are a lot of participants coming from outside the country participating while we are watching. Okay. Chair, in the interest of time, let me conclude by saying thank you very much for this opportunity, and we are now ready for your questions, Chair, or questions from your committee, Chair. Thank you so much.
Thank you, CB, for the submissions. Any questions, honorable members? Okay, so we'll take the 3, 4. Okay, let me note down. Okay, so we'll take those which I've noted and then we'll close. So, Honorable Stwala.
Thank you, Chair. Copper Belt Invest once again. Good afternoon. I just want to get a clarification from Dr. Muia. It's on your subject, agriculture. We've come a long way as a country. We FISIP, name it. We really seem not to be getting it right. We are now talking about CASIP. I just wanted to get your comment. How best do you think we could make this succeed this time around? Because really, it's like we are just on maize, which is a political crop. We don't seem to be getting to levels of export as a country. Just your comments, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. Honorable Washer.
Thank you, Chair. CBU, in your submission, you have clearly indicated that the recapitalization of the 2 major mines, the Mopani and KCM, will positively contribute to the revenue that a government needs when they become operational, particularly looking at this medium-term budget plan we are looking at. But the information on the ground, as reported on the floor of the House, through the report by the Budget and Planning Committee on its tour of the mines, has indicated that KCM needs about 2 billion capital, and it will take them
Is that Kwacha or US?
2 billion US dollars, and it will take them about 7 years for them to start the copper production. Now, I am just trying to wonder how we are going to benefit immediately from such a venture, which will take about 8 to 7 years, as a country. Now we are looking at this budget. Are we sure we are going to get the needed revenue to finance our budget from a project like KCM, which will start now yielding results after a period of 7 to 8 years? Your comment.
Thank you. Honorable Kambita.
Thank you very much, Chairperson. With the indulgence, I've got a twin of questions targeted at Dr. Bruce Muia, following his presentation on the comments he made on the agri sector, manufacturing, tourism, transport, construction, and energy. But I'll target it on agriculture, just to actually expand the question that was asked by General Stwala on agriculture. Dr. Muia commented on the farming blocks And he also stated the fact that only about 80% is contributed to our GDP from the agricultural sector. We need to scale that up if we are to get the potential that it has. But then I'm particularly interested in the farming blocks. If you listened to the Minister of Agriculture speak concerning also the graduation mechanism which you talked about, it would look like everything is in place, but the systems are not very clear. So we would want to hear your comment in terms of what system or strategy that would be appropriate, especially for the graduation process, and also to ensure that these farming blocks, of course I'm mixing things here, the farming blocks cater for the entire country, because they are thinly, dotted around the country, and they're not really achieving for the whole country. That's my question for Dr. Bruce Muya. Now, there is also Dr. Chisakulo on mining. You talked about geological mapping, which is very, very important to enhance production and the potential that we have in the mineral deposits in the country. And you talked about geological survey department. We already have a geological survey department in place, but we've heard also, which I'm sure in your research you must have heard about this, in the medium-term budget plan, where government is looking at coming up with a commission in the mining sector. But again, we are not sure, as members of parliament here, we need to know the terms of reference for that commission. What will this commission be doing? Will it really help us to get this data that we are supposed to have? Or the implementation plan is what is lacking here. So we may need your comment as well to help us on how you envisage this commission should actually operate. What are its objectives at the end of the day? Because we have had several of these pronouncements made, but implementation is a problem. So I would like those two comments.
Thank you. The last one is from Honorable Samakai, so that we get all of them. Your mic.
Thank you very much, Chairperson. I heard Dr. Sakura referring to electrical vehicles. I'm just wondering how prepared Zambia is, considering that our power generation volumes are quite low. How would it be when we take on the electrical vehicles? How prepared are we as a country to ensure that we benefit from this innovation?
Thank you. I hope on a lighter note, you have seen our newest car trending on social media, done by CBO on electrical vehicles. So as you respond to those, you can also highlight on that one. Our colleagues from CBO, Honorable Simunji. Okay, let me take the last one, Honorable Simunji.
Thank you, Chair. CBU, my question will be based on the illegal mining, which they didn't talk about. The major contributor to our taxes in Zambia is the mining. However, today if you go to Chingola,
through your mic, sir.
Yes, if you go to Chingola today, sincerely mining, day and night you find a mechanized mining by unknown people, and no one seems to be concerned. We are awaiting a regulator to come and stop those people from mining. Are we serious as a nation? Or who is connected to that mining? And in addition, the production levels we are talking about now, are they correct? Or we are understating these figures? Thank you very much.
Thank you. Our colleagues, you can respond to those in a brief fashion so that when we close, you may choose whoever wants to
Yes, thank you, Honorable Chair. I'll allow Dr. Muya to handle the two questions. The one by Honorable Stwala, thank you very much. It's a very important question. FISIP. Honorable Kambita, system strategy, farm blocks. Dr. Muya is a strategist. And then Dr. Tsakulo is an expert in mining to handle the geological mapping by Honorable Kambita. Important questions again. E-vehicles, Honorable Samakai, thank you very much. And illegal mining, although I also say something about illegal mining. Just on Saturday, someone was telling me you can buy copper and cobalt in Kandawe compound. They have it in the houses. You just park here, and when they see a police vehicle, they don't want them in that area because it's like they're investigating them. But Dr. Tsakuro, so you are not honorable. You handle that part. Thank you, Honorable Chair.
Thank you. Okay. Thank you, Dr. Shikaputo, and thank you, Chair. Honorable Stwala, I think, asked a question around how we can create the graduation process mechanism for our FISIP, CASIP beneficiaries. What's the way forward? Yes. I think to handle that, we have made some specific recommendations on page 14 in our document. But what we think in that submission specifically is that FISIP has a dual role. The first one is around food security. The other one is economic in nature, in the sense that there are farmers we need to support to grow and transition from being peasant farmers to emerging and eventually commercial farmers. What that means is that once the profiles of each FISIP beneficiary are identified, and specifically those ones that are intending to commercialize, the mechanism for support to them could be different, in the sense that they should be receiving a lot more support with a much more stringent requirement for accountability, so that we can identify what exactly they are doing with that particular support. And then that also entails that the support should be given for a specific period of time, with benchmarks around, by this particular time you should have been weaned off this particular process of benefiting from subsidized inputs. We think that with time also, we have suggested that for farmers who grow the muscle to move from being emerging and eventually to become commercial, some of the input support can actually be deducted. For example, when you sell your produce, say if it's maize through FRA, the payment to you could actually deduct the government support that you had actually received. So we need a variation on how we deal with these beneficiaries, yes. But to also build a robust mechanism in which we can visualize and digitalize where these beneficiaries are actually located, and what sort of crop and what sort of agricultural activity they are engaged in, so that the monitoring and evaluation can actually be executed from that angle. We think that that could help with the process of graduating these farmers, yes. That would be a way to ensure we get some success out of this. With the screening that occurred around the database, authenticating the members, the beneficiaries of FISIP, a lot of people in the cities have complained that they have been kicked out of the beneficiary list for FISIP, which entails that the screening process was actually useful and it was necessary, because there are people who were just selling the inputs as soon as they received that. They were not participating in actual agriculture, yes. Thank you. That was the question from Honorable Sitwala. And then Honorable Kambita asked a question about farming blocks. We think that farming blocks, they may be dotted around the whole country. But if we started with the notion that which particular farming produce is required by which market. Then we can designate different farming blocks for different crops or agricultural activity. And then the road networks, the electricity that is taken there, and the identification of the anchor support farmers, you could actually have a call for applications from different investors, both local and external. That in this particular area, this is the sort of crop that it would be, or this is the sort of agricultural produce that would be particularly doing well. And so we are looking for investors around this. So that will be a very targeted way to address how farming blocks are actually dealt with. For example, the market is clear. If you are dealing with the issues to do with the grain, Congo and part of and East Africa going into the Middle East, that's the clear market for the grain. When we are thinking about goats, it's around Saudi Arabia, Malaysia. They seriously need heavy stocks to buy from us. So once we identify the off-takers, each farming block can be designated to actually focus on a particular product. Then the outgrower schemes would cluster around that particular major off-taker who is then linked to the market. From that perspective, we think that that would be very helpful indeed. Some of the local commercial farmers might require additional support in terms of mechanization as well as working capital financing. Institutions such as the DBZ could then be brought into the picture, and the Citizens Economic Empowerment Commission could also facilitate those processes. We saw that recently the ADB Chief Executive Officer was in the country, and they're excited about partnering with our country. We think that we could take advantage of the goodwill internationally to access additional funding to support those farming blocks. Yes, I think that in a nutshell, with the limited time we have, would be the way to go. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Chair. Just to amplify, it's unfortunate Honorable Luvosha just walked out. What Dr. Muya has mentioned, historically, Katanga province has been feeding from Zambia. And we know every year, whether we ban or not ban, they'll still feed from Zambia. But why haven't we come up with a strategy to ensure that we provide for them? That's a market which is yawning. And today what is happening, Congolese are entering Zambia. They are not buying bags of maize. They are now buying farms. From here to here, how much they negotiate, they pay you, and they harvest. So we need, maybe when we go back to the copper belt, we start something, because the market is already there, but we have never satisfied that market. And when they buy, we call it smuggling. Thank you, Chair. I now hand over to the mining expert to quickly or briefly answer the questions.
Okay.
One by Honorable Luvosha, Honorable Samakai, Honorable Kambita, and Honorable Simundi.
Okay. The first question was about recapitalization, where 2 billion is the amount which has been reported needed by KCM to do their expansion. Yes, in real sense, mining is capital intensive, and then it's also long term. We cannot run away from that. So that 2 billion, yes, for them to recoup what they've invested, it might take time, okay? And it could even take 8 years, 7 years. But currently, this mine has got also the brownfield arenas. That capital injection in terms of expansion is there, but there are also delineated deposits within KCM which need sustaining capital. Probably that's what will be used at the moment so that we can get something as they are doing the development And if you're told there is also exploration, which takes time. And that's typical of mining. You can't run away from that. It's not a greenfield project. It's operation. There is a component of sustaining capital, which can make, KCM start producing as they undertake the expansion project. The question on geological mapping and the terms of reference of the Mineral Commission. I don't know, last time I was hearing some discussion from the Minister of Mines where they said they've tabled everything and that is awaiting probably approval from Parliament. It's like everything has been done. Well, if we look at what is happening, say, in Tanzania or Ghana, okay, they've got the mineral commissions, and probably these have to work with the existing units within the ministries of mines. When I was presenting here, I did mention that it's important to see how the functions of units in the Ministry of Mines and Mineral Development will transition in this commission. I did mention that because I know the Ministry of Mines has got this unit, except that maybe they lack capacity in terms of financial resources and human capital. And probably the other thing would be to ask a question, so why can't we, improve, capacitate these institutions? Can they do the role of the Mineral Commission? So that's another thing. But wherever the Mineral Commission occurs, they are involved in strict regulation and the control of mineral resources for the nation, working with, units within the Ministry of Mines. Electric vehicles, how prepared? Yeah, we have fine. It's true the hydroelectric. It's one of the comparative advantage probably which we have. If you compare with the Congo DR, yes, we have that level of hydroelectric power generation, which can act as a comparative advantage, okay, which we can work on. But again, to answer the question of how prepared, we are talking about unlocking the potential in terms of minerals. You know that these electric minerals, up to now, we are not sure whether we have the lithium. We are not sure whether we have that required lithium. But I know the Choma Kalomo block, okay, has got some of these lithium occurrences. What is required now is to do proper exploration for lithium, for graphite, manganese, and cobalt itself. That's the only way we can say we'll be prepared. I know the MOU was signed somewhere between DRC and Zambia, yes, okay? And from the DRC part, I could see there is progress, while on the other part, things are moving, but I can't say they're up to date compared to what is happening in the people in DRC. So to answer that question, we need to enhance our exploration potential for these critical minerals which can feed in the electric vehicle batteries. The tax contribution is being affected, yes, by illegal mining. That's why I said this is a challenge which we still have. We have to work on this. How we do that? The model they are proposing is, to form cooperatives so that these illegal miners can be assisted either with technology needs, capital, and the other technical skills so that they become, formalized. Okay? That's the only way we can handle this illegal mining. Okay. Otherwise, without that, we still have this illegal mining in the country. In terms of production figures, yes, we have had problems where we are coming from. If you have to ask Bank of Zambia now, I have to ask the Chamber of Mines, I have to ask ZRA, and you also have to ask the Minister of Mines. Could you give us the production figures for this year or last year? You see there will be a lot of variations. It's how we report these things. And previously we had this problem of production figures reporting from different institutions. So we still have that, yes, challenge, but I hope now things will be handled in a correct way so that we have these representative figures upon which we can plan and estimate what is due to us in terms of revenue from those mining companies. Perhaps the chair could add on to illegal mining is from.
Thank you, Honorable Chair. I think the expert in mining issues has hopefully has answered the questions from honorable members of this committee. I'll ask Dr. Muya to just say one or two things quickly.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Shikaputo. Honorable members, I just want to add to the notion, the question around the electric vehicles. To what extent are we ready as far as electricity supply is concerned? I think it's, we are all aware that we have challenges on the supply side around electricity. I think we are glad to note that there are many pronouncements around MOUs that are being signed by different investors. So we hope that some of those projects can actually be implemented sooner. We have seen as universities some interest as well from investors who have worked with different universities around the region where they have used the rooftops of every university, because every university has, especially public universities, we have huge infrastructure. And they want to use both our roofs as well as some of our land to try and partner with the universities around the electricity generation, yes. But then what would age is the public-private partnership processes. They need to be quicker. We need more efficiency. We are delaying so many processes. Some of these discussions started more than a year ago, and they are not yet actualized because the approval processes are taking too long. It appears there's quite some red tape that is getting us to take longer to have projects take off to contribute to increase the supply of electricity, yes. So those would be some of the comments. In fact, I think the chair, Dr. Shikaputo, is participating in some of those discussions around the partnerships with the private investors with universities. Yeah. Thank you.
Hopefully we have answered the questions. May not be 100%. We've done something. Thank you so much.
So thank you very much, Dr. Shikaputo, Dr. Chisakolo, Dr. Is it Fandam? I think that's it. Dr. For sure, giving us that will help us as we wind down looking at this consultative process for the Minister of Finance and National Planning. That will help us quite a lot. That our road, that which looks like a rail ride, we pray that you have a safe travel. Thank you very much for coming.
Thank you very much, Chair. Just the last comment that maybe in future, a lot of us were trained by the government free of charge, but the government is not utilizing us in terms of helping out in terms of research and the other issues. So we are looking forward to a time where the government, the industry, and universities through maybe the triple helix can be operationalized so that we also contribute to the nation for the money that the nation paid for us. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
seen a propensity.
The debates, the questioning, the making of laws, the confrontation. The live parliamentary proceedings are aired on Parliament TV every Tuesday to Thursday at 14:30 hours and Fridays at 09 hours. Make a date. Parliament TV, bringing Parliament closer to you.
Well, I am the fourth born in my family. I'm married. I've got 5 children. I was born in the Kamanisha village. That's in Mangango constituency. I schooled at Muito Primary School, or Muito Basic School by then, from grade 1 up to grade 9. I made it for grade 10, and I went to Kambule Technical High School for my grade 10. I schooled at Kambule Technical High School only for a term, and then I transferred to St. Mark's Secondary School in Choma. At St. Mark's, I schooled there up to grade 12. After that, I went to Livingstone Teachers Training College. I did a teaching course. From Livingstone Teachers Training College, I then had to wait for some time for deployment in civil service. Later on, I was deployed in civil service and worked in Chongwe at almost 2 schools. I was at Mwalumina Primary School and eventually transferred to Kanakantapa. And thereafter, that's how I resigned. After my resignation, I just started my own business now. Actually, before that, I already started again furthering my studies with the University of Zambia, the extension studies, and I did a diploma in business administration. When I completed that, as I was running my own business alongside, I again went to Mulungush University. I did a bachelor's degree in commerce, and I majored in economics. I think, in simple terms, that is my academic background. Well, Mwene Luhamba is the MP for Mangango constituency in Kaoma district. The population of Mangango is almost 60,000. There are forests there where we are able to harvest some timber from. So that is an economic benefit to our people in Mangango, and it's really elevated the lives of the people in Mangango, the timber. So it's a very good place to live and very good place to invest in. In case there are some investors that would want to come and invest, they can bring their cattle. The cattle can be kept in Mangango. We have got nice plains, very good view.
No sese flies?
No sese flies. Very good view. I'm telling you, you can bring your cattle, you can bring your other animals like goats, sheep. Come and keep them in Mangango. You can have nice farms there. You see, those are the kind of people that we need, you see. So it's a very good place to live. Yeah? I have got a lot of ideas that we have to work with the people, that I feel we really need to fulfill those ideas in this 5 years' time. We have got challenges that I feel we have to attend to. For example, I feel the road network is the first biggest challenge that we have. The Katunda Lukulu Road needs to be tarred. So Katunda Lukulu Road is a very, very important road because it connects Kaoma, Mangango, Lukulu East, Mitete, and the northwest and that side. So, by the way, Mangango constituency is in Western Province. For those of us that may not be able to locate it clearly, it's in Western Province. It's a constituency, one of the constituencies that is very, very rich in natural resources. It's got timber, it's got quarry stone that is used to make roads. It also has got a lot of crops like rice, maize, millet, sorghum, cassava, among others. So now, there are a lot of farmers there, yes. So I feel because of that, we really need to open up the road network. It's not only the Katunda Lukulu road that I feel needs to be worked on. That one has to be tarred. It has to be of bituminous state now. We have also a communication network problem. So when we are talking about communication, we need some towers in some places. If I can just let the people know that actually some of the places in Mangango constituency are using towers from Lukulu East. They are the ones that they are able to communicate with. Okay, towers that are, like, for example, located in Kashamba. It's the one that is supplying the network system in Jatanga and so on. So we have got schools that also need to have proper buildings, a standard kind of buildings, infrastructure. You see that? We've got to start with community schools. I've got a lot of community schools in Mangango that need proper infrastructure. Almost in every ward, there are schools that need proper infrastructure. Okay? Not only one, but there are many. You see, there are many in every ward. So, in this 5 years tenure, I feel I have been given the responsibility to build these schools. Okay? I may not manage to build all of them, but I really feel I need to. I really feel we need to work with the people so that we build these schools. Not only that, also some other already existing schools as well. They need also some other infrastructure to increase on the infrastructure that is already existing there. Okay? So that is only on the side of the schools. Also clinics, there are some clinics that are actually grass-thatched as well. Just like some schools that are grass-thatched, we also have got clinics that are as well grass-thatched. You see the walls, actually, there are no walls, you see. We have got the mavalo on the sides and, you know, with mud on the side. So we feel we need, I feel we need to build clinics in some places. There are also some places that have got clinics, but they do not have houses for the employees there. You know, our government, we need to make sure that we take care of the civil servants. Okay, we need to take care of the civil servants by providing them with a decent accommodation. And I believe that is what can make civil servants attracted to go and serve in rural areas. Because without a decent accommodation, it demotivates the civil servants a little bit, but with a decent accommodation, a civil servant will be able to serve anywhere they are sent to. So not only that, agriculture extension officers, veterinary officers as well, they also need decent accommodation. And we have to look into all those matters. Some places do not have water. We need boreholes. You see, we need water, we need hand pumps. In some places, you find that some places have got only wells. In this century, you find our people in Mangango drinking from wells. So I feel I have been given this responsibility so that we work together with the community, we solve the water problem. Water is a very big problem. In Mangango, it's very, very important because it's a place that has got streams, it's a place that has got the river, okay, by the name of Luena River. Okay, we have got various streams in Mangango. So there is need for that connectivity between one place and another through a bridge. In these 5 years' time that have been given by the good people of Mangango, would like to state that we really have to work hand in hand together with the people of Mangango. I cannot do anything alone. I cannot do anything without the collaboration of the people in Mangango. We have to team up. We come up with these ideas and we actualize them and make sure we really do what is best for us. Yes, I'm equal to the task these 5 years, and it will be up to the people now in 2026 to look at the works that we shall be able to do together, the rapport, the collaboration with them, that they will now analyze, okay, should we bring this man back or we bring in somebody else? But for now, I've given myself a 5-year mandate to work with the people of Mangango and develop our place. So what comes after 2026, that one may not be spoken as it now, because it's the people that usher into and remove. So my role as at now, this 2021 to 2026, is to work hard and work for the people as a servant, as their slave, as their workmate, as their partner, as their brother, their sister, their nephew, their uncle. We come together and work.
So close to my heart.
This land, founded on freedom, grounded in justice, love for all mankind.
It's a land where every person is born free.
And it's a land of peace, of love and unity.
This land, Zambia, land of the strong, home of the brave, our land, Zambia, free men we stand in this land. In this land, beauty all around, there is no other. Love like a mother's love for her child.
Oh, let nobody come and take our peace away.
Let no one take what is free for all to share. This land, Zambia, land of the strong, home of the brave, our land, Zambia, free men we stand in this land. Oh, I believe the better days are surely coming, and I believe that we can make it through this night if we lay pride aside, put a trust in God.
Learn to love each other. You my sister, you my brother.
So don't let nothing land of the strong, home of the the strong, hope of the brave. Our land, Zambia, free men we stand in this land.
Wekashiandie watushomboshya pakukwae, wekashiandie watushomboshya pakukwae, wekashiandie watushomboshya pakukwae, wekashiandie watushomboshya pakukwae. Wamona nombae wala kotera panganda, wamona nombae wala kotera panganda, wamona nombae wala kotera panganda, wamona nombae wala kotera panganda. Chauswalia misikishi kakwaisaba kufa watampo mulengulira, kakwaisaba kufa watampo mulengulira. Wamona nombae wala kotera panganda, wamona nombae wala kotera panganda. Chauswalia wevolume tukae watushomboshya pakukwae, wevolume tukae watushomboshya pakukwae. Mapulanga watushomboshya pakukwae, wevo mapulanga watushomboshya pakukwae. Wamona nombae wala kotera panganda, wamona nombae wala kotera panganda. Balubazi wekashiandie watushomboshya pakukwae, wekashiandie watushomboshya pakukwae, wekashiandie watushomboshya pakukwae. Kakwaisaba kukufa watampo mulengulwira, abahumbe bonse abaleisa kuliwe atitabale mmoneka bwino iyo. Nomba mwaumenshi okafwaya kubumbi bobe bamakulanga bayisa atumutweta ule mmoneka bwino kusheba amakulanga tamwakwata omuto wakachipale kulekotera panganda. Umuntu tabifa iyo takwaho omuntu mubi, ukuwama kwa muntu mutima walumetuka naimwe mwakokola pakufa ukunombaye ukotera pachibalo. Yeah, Isaac Nsomokera, the producer. Kakwaisaba kukufa watampo mulengulira, kakwaisaba kukufa watampo mulengulira. Kakwaisaba kukufa watampo mulengulira, kakwaisaba kukufa watampo mulengulira. Wekashiandie watushomboshya pakukwae, wekashiandie watushomboshya pakukwae. Wamona nombae wala kotera panganda, wamona nombae wala kotera panganda. Wirakana waumeyo umomesa bipawe mwana wange kotera panganda Wengachiye wala kotera panganda Wengachiye wala kotera panganda Wengachiye wala kotera panganda Seimweta mwilolecha Yo muimonanga mwaimona muchilola Lola chilavipa Ngai mwe mwakwa tubusuma kwa musango chani Inja wengachi yandi walakochera pachibalo Ushumpwa patunono na patingi pene chechumfwe Voice of Lwakola twalanda Wengachiye walakochera panganda Wengachiye walakochera panganda Wengachiye walakochera panganda
Zapaziko nadanda ulane nazo zapaziko andangane ndaba uyu moyo na upunzira molimba nikanankala wa ulesi kana kangi olimpikila koma lelo napeza tikundi tupambana sisizikweza yaichilibe nsanje chimapirira ichini chikondi chazoona Bambana chapaziko nirangireni Abela nichikoni chobambana zapaziko Abale bangae Chikoni chochokera kwa Yesu Abale bangae Chikoni chochokera kwa Yesu Nalemanazo zotukanitwa Abale bangae nalemanazo zonyozedwa kwa longozi banga kodi simu maona chisanzo chinasiya mu Yesu titinga yese uponda mapati mwawo anadya nawo chimwa kupulumutsa mbaba kuchiritsa aliyese kopanda kusankha uyo ndiye mtima ni mafuno nkana nawo Abale banga, chini chikoni, chochokera kwa